What is the number one thing in sound that you get from your hi-fi? There is one thing that I have realized after all this time listening to so many different speakers and equipment, something I kind of knew, but I've realized now it is the ultimate thing. What is it? I'll get round to it in a second. It is this. Does it turn on your analytical brain? Because you don't want that. I honestly think you don't want. And if you're turning on your analytical brain, you're sitting there like a meerkat, yeah? All attentive, listening for things, listening for this and that. Instead of just getting given it, receiving it. And in a way, you know, I think I'm getting all sort of philosophical here, but it's like this thing of living in the moment. You just experience the moment perfectly and without any analysis. Yes, it just works for you. Now, I used to make stained glass windows, and what I discovered after years of doing like selections of glass colors, yeah, before you make a window, you'd get a load of glass out. You know, you'd know roughly, but you get all these different glass samples, try to work out what colours you're going to use and what looks good, and let's get these colours right. And when you get those colours right, you get this feeling, and it is just in your body. It's in here, you know. And if you could change one colour and it could feel bad, it literally made you feel a little bit sick, a little bit, you know. It's unpleasant, it's unharmonious, it's not good. You just makes you dizzy, you know, you're not at ease, you know. And you can feel that in your body. It took me quite a few years before I realised, oh, I feel it here. This is where you decide what looks good. You know, it's just how it, this is the VU meter, your physical body, you know. So, and I'd say the same is for sound, yes? If it's not, if you're just sitting back, I want to be sitting back like a bear in the woods, in the sunshine, with no predators, top of the food chain, you know, a river full of salmon going past, you know, easy food, total relaxation. When that sound is giving you what you want, when the vocal is delighting you, the bass you're following, the harmonies are glorious, the instruments are glorious, you just know it and feel it. Now, I mean, the point I'm saying this, or what I'm trying to get across is, if you get that, take notice of it, you know. It's like, okay, the game is now won, because you can imagine, and funnily enough, this used to happen in stained glass too. People would come in and they'd have multiple ideas in their head which they're trying to create, but it was never it couldn't be brought into a reality. It could only exist in their imaginations, and you know, they'd always sort of I'd have to disappoint them in a way and say, well, look, this is only one window we're making, and it's not this thing that is in your imagination which is better than anything, because your imagination is always the best. Yes, your imagination is always incredible. So that's what I'm saying. If it's turning on your analytical brain, for me, that's no good at all. That's what you don't want. I mean, tell me if you think this is right, you know. I just got these out because these are Bovox CX100. They're just very enjoyable. They're probably not the greatest speaker, and they've got some sort of peculiarities, but they give you a load in the mid-range. People start dancing with these speakers, which must go on the wall, by the way. So they're an example of something that just delivers in that emotional way. You know, it's kind of emotional. Just going to look at that there. That's an old Meridian preamp. It's not presently working, but I have heard this before, and it's lovely. And it struck me that you know, the reason a lot of gear is good from, let's call it the olden days, is that these were founder companies. You know, this company, Bob Stewart and Alan Boothroyd, this is their baby. They made this sound good. This is not so much what happens in the modern world, where large companies own 5 companies and you have this, you know, fragmented bureaucracy. I mean, you know, you could call this a designer amp. Of course you could, because you know exactly who the designer is. I think Bob Stewart was really the audio designer. But anyway, I mean, this is not really on subject, but it just struck me that, like, this is how things got good. The love of a great engineer. I mean, they've got to be good at it, you know. That's a given, yeah. They've got to be good at it. And if they weren't good at it, we wouldn't have heard of them and we wouldn't be talking about them now. So, you know, that, you know, if something is still revered after 50 years, then it means something, you know. So, yeah, that's, you know, you want to not have your analytical brain turned on. So focus on that, I would say. You know, the amp that does that, the speakers that does that. I mean, it's just that you could kind of miss it amongst all this noise of reviews and possibilities that you hear about. You could sort of go past it and then get your, you know, land up in some analytical wasteland when you've actually walked through paradise. I should end it on that because that was a good line. Okay, if you like this, there's a button called like. Okay, bye for now.